Hey folks, it is your friend in flowers, Lisa Mason Ziegler, and super happy to be here with you this evening because we have a special talk that's going to happen tonight with a good friend who I can't wait to bring her on. It's Lennie Larkin, and we are going to be talking about the biggest challenges facing flower farmers, or challenge, and I just can't wait to dig in. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm looking up. There she is. Boy, that girl is on time. Wait for us to dive into this topic. And so, everybody on here, post in the comments, are you a flower farmer or are you a gardener gone wild? Hey, Lenny,
Hi.
how are you doing?
I try to be on time. I'm doing well. How are
I,
you?
I am great. I mean, it's finally getting hot in Virginia. We've kind of had a cool, long spring, which is
Yeah.
good and bad, right? But it was pretty steamy here today, so everybody's pretty whipped. But I spent an hour rejuvenating before our chat, so
Ooh,
all is good.
rejuvenating. You look rejuvenated.
Well, thank you. So I'm excited for us to talk about the biggest challenge facing flower farmers these days, right?
Yeah.
And so first, just in case there is one person out in the world that doesn't know who you are, why don't you introduce yourself first and then I'll introduce myself? We won't assume that people know who we are.
Sure thing. Great point. I'm sure there's lots of people who don't know who I am. So I'm Lennie Larkin. I have B-Side Farm, and I also have Flower Farming for Profit, which is the name of the book I wrote this year, which is a book about everything about the business of building a flower farm. So I'll leave the growing tips, learning how to grow flowers to you, Lisa. You do so many other things, but there's so many people, wonderful people out there helping new farmers grow flowers. So I'm trying to catch them and help them develop all those other business skills. So I built my farm in California over 10 years, and we just moved to Oregon a year and a half ago. So I'm calling in today from Oregon.
Awesome. And so right before you came on, I asked folks to post in the comments, are they flower farmers or are they gardeners with a love or a dream of becoming a flower farmer? And people are commenting all kinds of stuff. So my name is Lisa Mason Ziegler, if we've never met before. And my farm is located in southeastern Virginia. And I'm in the middle of the city. I've been flower farming for 26 years. And now I still flower farm, but we don't actually sell our flowers. We use them for education and demonstrations and lots of other stuff. But I am teaching as Lenny's gift. Lenny and I both have just such a deep passion for teaching. And Lenny, I have to tell you that you are an incredible teacher. I am
Thank
just
you.
so very, very impressed. And your book is amazing. And y'all, if you don't have her book, you gotta, head over to her website. Are you signing books?
Not these days. I haven't. I decided I didn't want to deal with the inventory, so I'm just
Oh,
sending people
okay.
to Growing
Okay.
for
So,
Market or hopefully Growing for Market or Amazon or wherever they buy
okay.
books. Yeah.
Wherever books are available, most likely you will find
Yeah.
it. And I can't recommend it enough. And so, Lenny, I just really want to talk about, so what do you see as the biggest struggle that flower farmers are facing today?
Yeah, so I thought of a few, and you and I didn't check in about necessarily the biggest one. So, I've got a few in mind, but really one is that most of us get into farming because we love being outside, we love being around plants, and we love growing flowers. But that doesn't mean we necessarily love business or know how to run a small business. So I think one of the biggest challenges is learning to wear all the hats that come with growing and running a small business, which means bookkeeping and sales and marketing and business strategy and all this stuff that has little to do with putting a seed in the ground and growing a flower.
I have to say, I totally agree. When I was on one of the many talks when I was having with Jenny Love, we did some lives a while back, and she contends, and I agree with her, that the growing the flowers part is like 25% of what a flower farm business is about,
Yeah.
right? The rest of it is selling and running and and being profitable. So, I think that there's so much confusion about pricing,
Yes.
competition, all those things that people are like, egads. But let's just talk about that a little bit. If people don't go in with a clear goal of what they want to do, it gets really cloudy fast, doesn't it?
Absolutely. It gets cloudy, and then all you can do is look around and try to emulate what other people are doing. And since we're so connected these days with Instagram and Facebook and everything, you look around and you say, okay, this person's growing these 5 crops, maybe, or these 500 crops, maybe that's what I should grow. They sell through all these sales channels, maybe that's where I should sell. And there's no harm in that it's natural to see,
Right.
well, how do you do a flower farm? But looking at other people's businesses isn't really going to help you with your own and with your own situation and your own local market.
I feel like people just really don't understand that we aren't born knowing this stuff,
Right.
right?
Right. Yeah.
I've often used the example, it would be like what we see people doing that are suffering and failing and just not really what their dream was. Is it would be like me waking up tomorrow morning and saying, you know what, I think I'm going to open a copy machine store. I'm going to go lease a space, buy some copiers and start selling them, and I know absolutely nothing about copy machines. And
Right.
it's
Yeah.
that equivalent,
Yeah.
right? And I think
Absolutely.
people see other people doing it because of social media, and think, well, if they can do it, I can do it too. And we just miss a lot of the pieces. But if you want that business to be long haul and sustainable, meaning you can keep doing it, it has to be profitable, right?
Yes, yes, absolutely. And you have to find time to carve time out from all the things on the farm that will swallow you up and
Ah,
looking at you weeding, and like then spend time on the other parts of your business. You put it really well, Lisa. Maybe this was in our the podcast episode I did with you, but you put it really well in that people need to take care of be the adults in their business. They
yeah.
need to come do the adult things, which means the things that aren't sexy, the things where you don't get to feel the sun on your shoulders, where you're not taking beautiful pictures of the flowers. That stuff is all great, but there's all this other stuff that you need to get a handle on. And your goal and my goal is to help people do that earlier so they can avoid some of the mistakes we made and so that they can build a profitable business in just a few years rather than in like 10 years, you know?
It's really true. And I tell you, Lenny, I've come around the block that I just really want to help people and to be truthful with them. And I saw
Yeah.
some other business in another arena say the other day is, we talk to so many people that are scared and afraid. They're afraid to price. They're afraid to go see a florist. They're afraid. You know why they're afraid? Because they're not prepared. They
Mm-hmm.
haven't they are not educated, and
Yeah.
that is natural. So
Yeah.
no matter what scale you're growing on, there is a profitable way to be a flower grower and seller. Isn't that true? That's a true statement, right?
Absolutely. Yep. Absolutely.
So I also want to say that something that a lot of people, I guess because I've been doing this too long, and we've just seen so many people succeed, and I've seen so many people fail
Right.
horribly. I've
Right.
seen marriages end. I've seen just really, really terrible stuff.
Yeah.
And that's what people have to really step back and say, how you can run a profitable flower farm and business that can contribute to your family. That's what I see. There are people like you, like Stephen Gretel, like Dave Dowling did. I mean, I can name them, Frank and Pamela Arnowski,
Yeah.
that went big and Jenny Love, and are providing the single income for their
Yeah.
family comes from a
Yeah.
flower.
Yeah.
But I believe that's the exception instead of the rule. Most people want to contribute to their family in some way,
Yep.
whether that's whatever,
Yeah.
so they're not looking, and it is so doable. But when you go in it and you're not prepared and you're not educated to do it profitably, you wear your family out.
Absolutely.
I can't even tell you how many nights Steve Ziegler has eaten cereal for dinner. Yeah. And it's like most people's families are so supportive and helpful. but they're not going to do that for years, people.
Right. Right.
That's what we see. It's like people just they don't ever get on the right path. And anyway, so, you know, the foundation of a profitable flower farm. So let's just talk about that. The foundation, you know, and I want to say that I sat down this afternoon because I was cooked from cutting flowers. Let me
Yeah.
tell you, I was cooked. Then I had a meeting. I mean, who wants to talk when they're hot and tired, right? Anyway, I sat in my family room after that was over with a cool beverage and my dog, and I speed watched your course again
Oh,
so
wow.
it'll all be fresh in my
Yeah.
mind. And Lennie, I am just going to tell you again, I am so impressed. And I
Oh,
even see the applications in that course to any business.
yeah.
I mean, I was watching
Yeah.
it saying, oh my gosh, is she pointing her finger at me? You know what I mean? Anyway, so I want to hit some of what you feel like are those foundational points. And Jesse has sent me some bullets, and I want to talk about three things: actionable goals, which is in
Yeah.
your course;
Yeah.
profit first planning. Holy cow, there's a concept. And then strategic crop selection. So if you'll just kind of give us a little nutshell of what your take is on that.
Absolutely. So the first part was the goal setting, right? Yeah. So this is something that I've really leaned into. And it's sort of, my work, I find that it sort of draws from small business lessons that you could get if you went out and got a business degree, or if you took a small business course, a free one at the local library, whatever. But, business advice that is applicable to any kind of small business. So from that area, from flower farming, and then also from like, almost like, I hate to say it, but almost life coaching or something like that. I'm not going to say therapy, but just this whole world of goal setting, which can really bring so much more depth to your life as a business owner. So
Yeah.
beyond helping your farm become profitable and financially sustainable, it also makes it more meaningful for you and
Yeah.
allows you to track your
You're
progress.
giving me
And also,
goosebumps, Lennie.
ooh, good. I like that. I like that. That's the goal. That's my new tagline. Um, Giving people goosebumps. But if often most of us start out farming alone, right? And so you're often out there in the middle of your field. It's the middle of summer and you're stressed out and you have more flowers to cut and more weeds to weed. And sometimes you're faced with the decision. I mean, as business owners and as farmers, we're faced with a million decisions. Like, am I going to terminate this crop now, or am I going to keep eking out the last stems of it? Am I going to do a pop-up this weekend, or am I going to spend my time instead staying on the farm and getting the weeding done? And you're faced with all these decisions, and you sometimes just need a second opinion, and you don't have that because you're out there and you're alone. And so I find that this practice of goal setting really helps you focus on what's important to you as a farm owner, as a farmer, as an environmental steward. And then you set these goals and you can check back in with them throughout the year. And then they'll be fresh in your mind. And when you're standing out there in the field and you're hot and sweaty, and if you have no bandwidth to make one more decision, you'll think about your goals and it'll give you some context for the fork you're at right then, and you'll know what to do. And you also know that there's never a right answer and a never a wrong answer. But this practice of goal setting just helps orient you and helps ground you in why you started this business in the first place. So we break down goals across the board: financial, sustainability goals, personal goals, all
Yeah.
that.
All right. So let's talk about, I loved this one, strategic crop selection. And I was so happy to hear you say in there that we aren't supposed to be growing 500 crops,
Yeah.
or like five
Yeah.
or 15
Yeah.
or, yeah, I mean, I went down that road and it misled me and almost derailed me.
It's so hard. I mean, I remember when I built my first website for my farm, which was probably 2014 or 2015. I'm not going to say I copied other flower farmers, but I certainly drew from language I had seen other flower farmers share. And one of them was sort of, one piece of language was sort of boasting about how many crops you grew. And so it was like, I grow over 80 varieties of different cut flowers, and that doesn't even take color and variety into consideration. And it's like, I look back and I'm like, what was I thinking? You know, it's just, if you are a farm and you expand over time and you start growing the crops that your customers demand, and therefore you end up growing a pretty wide crop list, great, wonderful. I'm not telling you that that's not a goal. But most of us, when we're just starting, I see most flower farmers out there, and you see it too, growing so many crops that they're not able to really ever specialize in any of them to really learn the ins and
Yeah,
outs. They're not able to really pay attention to which crops are selling well through their channels and at good prices, because you're so busy just trying to keep track of everything.
exactly.
Yeah. So if people would just start out with taking kind of a taking the pulse of their market and their local customers and seeing what kinds of crops they like to buy, growing those, and then reassessing every year, adding crops once you realize you can sell more crops to those customers. But you know, expanding slowly and really starting out with a small list. I whittled my crop list down to like 15 main crops over the years. And granted, I was a very small farm, but I was so happy having that limited of a crop list.
You know, Lenny, I had the perfect example of that. And I look back and it's like, I don't think I've ever even maybe said this publicly. So, we were kicking butt, selling flowers, tons, 10, 15,000 stems a week. And
Yeah,
what occurred to me, I don't even remember how it all happened, but there was several crops that we sold out of every single week. Like only the top tier customers ever even knew I grew them.
right.
One of them was Bells of Ireland. And
Yeah,
it never occurred to me to kick Gumphrina or another cool flower to the curb to grow
right.
more Bells of Ireland. And but when you're caught, I mean, what you're saying, when you're out there in the ditch doing it, these
Yeah,
things, and of course you're exhausted. You're totally
yeah.
exhausted. So, all right. So that's just, crop profit first planning and then strategic crop selection. And I know that you cover all of this in your course. Now, first off, somebody asked a question a minute ago. I saw, what is the name of your book? I didn't say it. Tell us the
Oh,
name of it.
no worries. The name of the book is Flower Farming for Profit. And the name of this course is Profitable Flower Farming.
Yeah,
So
it
this
gets
is, yeah,
dicey.
yeah.
But
No,
anyway, so
it's great.
somebody
It's great.
asked, and I wanted to do that. So I want to just talk about, and I did again, as I mentioned earlier, if people have been joining, I sat down and and you can speed up our courses. You can choose your speed, and you are very clear to understand at double speed, by the way.
Oh,
And I
wonderful.
watch almost all course videos in double speed, and
Yeah.
um, I just can't wait for people to get their hands on this, because the whole time I was listening to it, I'm thinking there is not a flower farmer that I know that doesn't need to hear what you say in this course and
Right.
the steps that you actually follow. Because I'm telling you, I called you a nerd on social media
I
today,
saw
a
that.
flower
I did
farming
see
nerd.
that, Lisa.
But I'm telling you, your nerdiness in this area that we are all terrified of.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll speak as a person that owns a big business now. I am still not comfortable with the numbers part of stuff, figuring it
Right.
out
Yeah.
and just you make it so approachable and so simple and easy that I'm thinking, you know what? I might just actually take one of those worksheets and not even do it on Flower Farm and doing it on something else.
Yeah.
I mean,
Right.
so take control of your flower farm and future, friends. That's what I'm here to tell you. So Lenny's new course that we're hosting for her is called Profitable Flower Farming. It is what we call a workshop, because it's only, I think it's like 4 hours, isn't it?
Yeah.
Totally. It's
Yep.
four, and y'all, that's broken up into 4 classes, and each class has multiple sessions. And so, Lenny, walk us through each of the classes and just kind of give us an overview of what's included.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to do it from memory because I didn't pull it up here. So the first class, I believe, is goal
Yes.
setting. Yeah, great. You can give me a nod. So just what we talked about, breaking down the goals into, well, it's really, you start with assessing your market and then moving into goal setting. and figuring out what you want as a business owner, what kind of money you want to make, and then we give you some guidelines of how much money you might make, what some average flower farming finances are. And then we we help you turn these goals into really actionable metrics, making sure they're smart, measurable, all those things, all that acronym. And then we move on to sales channels, I believe, for the
Yes.
next class. Okay, great. It's like a guessing game here. Sorry, I didn't pull that up. So we move into sales channels with the goal of really helping everyone look at the available sales channels that are out there. So what does it look like to sell to a florist? What does it look like to sell through a farmer's market? What are the crop markups? How much would you sell flowers to a florist for the same price as you would to a farmer's market, for example? We look at how to figure that out. And then help you look at these sales channels to see which ones will work in combination. So it might be great to have a roadside stand that you sell out on the weekends and sell to florists on a Tuesday, for example, just how to think through that. So then, sorry, go on.
No, I was just going to say what I loved about your sales channels and the goal setting. The first thing, I think one of the first things you mentioned is how much time do you have to do this?
Right,
I mean,
right,
it seems so obvious, Lenny, but we aren't realistic. And I
right.
mean, that was just so great. And I love the sales channels and how I mean, we had sales channels 3 times a week for the very reason that so our flowers were just
Yeah,
constantly moving out, right? And
yeah,
just I
absolutely.
loved the way those little equations of how you paired them up because people coming in have no idea.
Yeah, right. Absolutely. And what I tried to do here actually is as I built this course, I went through it over and over and over and tried to make it as simple as possible. Not simple because people are stupid, but simple because these are complicated topics that can get
Yes.
really jargony, that can get really complex. So we said, how do we explain these in a really approachable, friendly way for someone who's never thought about this business stuff before? So there were no spreadsheets, there are no complicated things. It's all like visually accessible and kind of hopefully fun too. And
Yes.
so we looked at the sales channels and the flower crop markups. And what I'm trying to say is that we also said, hey, here's what it might look like to sell to a florist every week. In my business, I used to aim for a $200 minimum if I was selling to florists, but I would get orders of up to $1,000. Just so people can wrap their head around what it looks like selling to these different channels. Because as you're getting started, why would you know? Why would you know how much a florist wants to spend with you, unless you've taken one of Ellen's wonderful classes with you? But it's great introduction, I think.
Yes. All right. And class 3 is sales based crop planning.
Yes. All right. So this is all about planning what you're going to grow, how much of it, and when you're going to grow it based on your sales demand and your sales projection. And sales projection sounds like a fancy thing, right? But basically, I want people to start out the year saying, how much money or how many flowers do I hope to sell this year? And some people have great data to come to an answer for that, and other people are just starting out and they're like, I don't know how many flowers I want to sell this year, but we help you work backwards. And let's say you decide that you want to sell $20,000 worth of flowers. You then look at how many weeks you'll be selling, and we divide that by the number of weeks. We then look at how many people you're going to be selling to. Is it 2 sales channels over 20 weeks? Great. Then you come up with that number. Let's say it's like $500, whatever. So then within that $500 that you want to sell to florists each week, what are the main crops that you want to grow to constitute those sales? And then we break it down in what will be blooming in June, what will be blooming in July and August and so forth. And then it's rocket science, you guys. But then the next step is growing those crops in those amounts to make those sales. It's hilarious because this is not how any of us started our crop planning,
Exactly.
you know? And it seems so simple. You work backwards from the sales you think you can get, but it's not how people do it because it's a little tricky to figure out. It's just not intuitive.
Oh, but Lenny, but none of us even try to figure it
I
out. We
know. I
just
know.
start growing
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah,
And I mean,
exactly.
that's literally what I did. All right. Oh gosh, we could
I
talk all night.
know.
All
I
right.
know.
Class 4 is crop profitability and strategic thinking.
Yes. So this is two different things that we put into one, but the first big piece is crop profitability, which is my whole thing these days. I'm doing all this grant funded research to help flower farmers figure out their cost of production. So this is a really basic intro level into thinking about how much it costs you to grow your different crops. Do you make more money on sunflowers or on zinnias? And then you can compare them. And even if you don't come up with the final answer, it's a way to get you to start thinking about your crops and start viewing them through this lens of like, which ones are doing better for me? If I can only grow 20 crops, which ones should I grow? And so it's a kind of a, an intro to crop profitability. And then strategic thinking is the last piece, but it really could be something that, I think it kind of not overshadows, it's threaded through the whole class. It's about strategic thinking, what we talked about in the beginning here, how to take a step back and react from a place of data, react from a place of your mission statement and your goals and what you want to do on your farm, and pay attention to what's working, what's not working, and do more of what's working and less of what's not working, rather than just making crazy decisions because you're exhausted and burned out and have never taken time to work on the business, not just in the
And
business. Yeah.
I want to say a couple of things. First off, friends, anybody that would like to have a sneak peek into Lennie's course, you can just comment profit here in the comments, and we will DM you a special link to actually see one of the sessions. I love the worksheet where you were comparing, like you were thinking about adding a pop-up shop or something. It's like, I'm telling you, it is not rocket science, but I think the more simple, I mean, I compare this to organic gardening. People miss that whole point, right? It's so simple. And
Yeah.
cool flowers. I mean,
Yeah.
cool flowers, it is a sit down with a calendar and count
Right.
back,
Right.
and I mean, it's like it's the big struggle. And so this just
Yeah.
all makes perfect sense to me. And your guidance in this course, not only is it fun and exciting, I mean, I could see if I was starting all over, I could see, holy cow, well, how much what do I think I want to make next year in flowers? What am I willing to
Right.
do? What do I have time?
Yeah.
And go for it. And who knows, maybe Bobo and I'll do it. I don't know. Anyway. Yeah. So, friends, let me tell you a little bit about her course. So, if you comment profit here, we will DM you a sneak peek inside the course. Her course just came out this week, and we have a special introductory offer. The course is regularly $199. This week, or for 10 days, and I've got the date here, until Monday, June 17th of 2024, if you're watching this later, you get $40 off. Talk about being profitable, right? Um, so it's $159. It's on demand, unlimited lifetime access to the videos, y'all. So you watch it at your convenience. But I'm telling you, you're going to sit down and watch it all at once. Once you start, you can't stop watching it. And so there's 24 video sessions and there's 12 printable handouts. Plus, there's a syllabus that you can print out. That's syllabus is just a fancy word for outline, y'all, or the table of contents. And friends, I just can't even tell you that I think that every person that either wants to start or they want to hit the reset button on their business, because I'll tell you, somebody, a veteran like me of 26 years, let me tell you something. You forget so much stuff as you get more and more bogged down. As you learn more, you bury the stuff. And it was a real eye opener for me to watch that course today, Lenny. It was really, really beneficial. And as I said, I can see people applying it as I will to other business, ventures. It's just
Yeah.
really, I mean, I had a meeting with Kelly and Jesse right after or after I'd watched one of them. And I said, Lenny is just really making me think about some things. And they're like, oh my gosh, what? Oh my goodness. Now what are you thinking of? But it's just a really thought provoking. I think it's empowering that people can have a financial goal. I mean, what is it that we don't want to talk about money? I mean,
Right.
are we
Right.
ashamed? Are we, I mean, we aren't like that. I mean, when I say we, me and my sister and I guess our family talked about money. Um,
Yeah.
a lot of people aren't that way. And this really, and you know what else this course does? It really gives you the powder you need to not justify your prices, but the pricing, what you're charging. It's like you say, I mean, let's talk why a farmer florist sells a flower for more than a farmer's market
Yeah.
does. Because there's a whole lot more mileage on that farmer florist
Yep.
flower. And it
Yep.
just, again, I want to say people that are nervous and scared about talking to customers and dealing with problems, it's because they're unprepared. Once
Right.
you get, you watch this course 5 times, you will have the confidence to face whatever it is that you need. And so, Lennie, I just think it's just such a great course. I'm excited.
Me too, Lisa. It was so fun to create. And yeah, we think it will be great for people who are just starting or maybe haven't even started yet. And they're the kind of people who are doing all this research online and trying to make their plans for next season. I think this is honestly a wonderful time to do this. But also, if you're in the middle of your season, this might be a great thing to do. Like you said, Lisa, if you're taking a break from the heat in the afternoon, you want to reassess. You're looking around and you're thinking your farm is a little crazy and a little out of control. That's a great time to start to take a step back, maybe spend a
Yes.
little bit of time in the evenings to plan for next season. It'll make you feel like you have more control over your life, to have a plan that you can put in place and take these little baby steps forward.
Lennie, I truly feel like the very best time to take a step back for whatever it is when you're in the heat of the moment. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? It's like
Yeah.
it is so easy to forget all this craziness of July is the month for us. July and August are the months that almost killed me every single year.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
when November and December roll around, it's already fading away. And
Totally.
really, I mean, I'm telling you, and I am also a big believer if you're a business owner, if you're already a business owner and you can't carve out 4 hours in one week to change your business life, you are not
Right.
going to make it. You're never going to
Right.
make it. You haven't started a
Yeah.
business, you've created a job for yourself, because if it
Yeah.
can't go on without you, that is not a business, that's a job. And there's nothing
Right.
wrong with just creating a job. I mean, I have a brother that's a builder and it's just him and his son. They don't want other, they've been doing that for decades.
Yep.
But if one of them gets hurt, they're
Yeah.
down, but they're
Yeah.
okay with that. So
Yeah.
anyway, I think now's the perfect time. And so Lennie's course, you can comment profit and we will DM you a link to have a sneak peek inside the course. The course is $199. It's 4 hours, but that is 4 classes with multiple sessions in each one. So you watch them and I really appreciated how short your sessions were. I mean, it's like you could
It
stop
was hard.
anywhere.
Yes.
It is hard.
Yeah.
It's really hard to be able to stop and then come back. I mean, I got interrupted. I had meetings and the dog and lunch and everything else, but I still got it done. And
Yeah.
um, so anyway, so the course is on an introductory special until Monday, June 17th at 12 midnight Eastern time for $159. It'll go back to $199, friends, after that. But I cannot recommend this enough. And it doesn't really matter where you are in the flower farming wannabe or you're already doing it. You will benefit. And also, I mean, the book is not part of the course, but her book is what you'll carry with you when you're out, going to appointments instead of reading magazines or whatever. And yes, I am one of the people that still reads magazines at doctor's offices. Yes, the only place I get to see them anymore, right? But carry your book. I mean, I just think it's time, Lennie, that we talk about this stuff,
Yeah.
and you've made it really approachable, simple, and literally exciting to think about. So I'm super excited. We're really honored to host your course, and I just think you're a spectacular teacher, and I can't wait until we connect again in person somewhere, somehow,
I know.
because
I
we're
know.
on
We
opposite
gotta.
coasts.
Yeah. Thank you, Lisa. It's been a dream come true, and I so value all of the work you do at the Gardeners Workshop. And I've taken a bunch of your courses, as you know, and I just love them. And that's who I want to. That's who I want to be. I want to be a part of that, of this movement of really caring about our new flower farmers, our new and seasoned flower farmers, and giving them real, tangible advice to help them grow their
Yes.
businesses and just stay in business and help our industry.
So here's a great question. Somebody just asked, when will the course start? When you purchase the course, it is instantly available to you. You don't have to wait for it to start. It's on demand. That means you purchase it, you log into your online course library. It's sitting there waiting for you. You can jump around, but I recommend you start at the top and just go through it. And you can go back and rewatch and revisit. And as long as we have internet, you will still have Lennie's course in your online course library. Um, so I was just going to scroll back through here and see if anybody, and so remember, y'all, you can comment profit and we will DM you the sneak peek inside the course so you can get a little taste of it. But I have to tell y'all, you will be delighted with it. Is not, I mean, let me tell you, I have taken some courses about finances and I'm telling you, I'm asleep 15 minutes in.
Yeah.
This is a very, first off, it's so simple and easy to follow. And it's like, oh my gosh, I can do this. Let's figure it out. So I cannot recommend it enough, y'all. And so you can always find the link um, over at thegardenersworkshop.com. It's currently right at the top of every page on our website. Um, and, you know, we just really hope that this is just going to really open the door to a lot more people to become professional cut flower growers, which is what we need more of, not hobbyists that are
Yeah.
dabbling, that just really hurt all of us. And we just need more cut flower growers. So,
Yeah.
Lennie, is there anything else you want to add before we sign off here?
I don't think so. Just that I really do hope this will be fun for people. And I think if you're the kind of person who does get overwhelmed when you hear people talk about numbers and these business concepts, that was me like 7 years ago. I kid you not. So I totally get it. And this course is going to be holding your hand as you start to learn that stuff. So I'm honored to be a teacher with you guys, Lisa, and I'm honored to be in this role of being a teacher in our industry. So I hope everyone really loves the class. To reach out and ask any questions you have, and I hope to hear what you guys think of it as you go through it.
All right. So again, we're going to close off here, but I just want to say you can comment profit and we will DM you a sneak peek inside. The course is $199, but this introductory week it's $159, a $40 savings, and that will be available until Monday, June 17th at 2024. And it's profitable flower farming, right? I
Yep.
get the book in that anyway.
Oh yeah.
So, friends, we just invite you to check it out because I think you are going to be pleasantly surprised and incredibly excited to start a profitable flower farming business. And this course will open the door to a lot of that. All right, Lennie, thanks so much for joining me here tonight.
Thank you, Lisa. I hope you have a cool
Yes.
evening over there.
Thank you so much. Bye, everybody.